Okay, we're recording. So tonight, Forensic Friday. I'm going to switch over here to share this. We have, as you can see, we have the extended stuff for CyberQ. Just keep working on those. For this lab, the stuff in red is what you need to turn in. I just figured it would be easier when you're going through going, okay, well, what was it that we needed to turn in to get the points? That's what's there. The other portions are just how you do everything. Tonight, we're going to go over what's called file viewer and hash calc. Hash calc should look familiar, as some of you noted. It's very familiar to Hashcat, which was in Kali Linux. And there's a lot of files, ones that look very similar. It has a few more hash options than some of the other ones do. And there's some slightly different functionality I thought you guys would enjoy. So in order to get to these tools, you don't need to know that. That was your test questions. You're like, yes, I do. Go back to that. The forensic tools, course documents, additional resources, forensic tools, file viewer right there. Hash calc right there. Now, for your assignment, you're going to need the forensic testing files, has 4 images that you can download, and you'll need those for your assignment. You don't necessarily need those to play with the stuff during lecture, but you will need them for your assignment. Nope, wink, wink, nod, nod. Don't need those answered. No, I'm not going to give them to you. Nice try though. That was very, very, very nice. Okay, so I'm also going to show you after that. There have been some people that have been asking me about forensics test files and where you get them. There are lots of places to get them. That this is a legitimate website. It's from NIST. And it's CFRED, it's cfreds.nist.gov. These are your newest data sets on the left, and these are the most popular ones on the right. This is where in week 7, you'll see the that we're talking about using the hacking case. This is where it comes from. These are VMs and all sorts of image files and things that are created for forensics professionals to practice on. Or they're from challenges, capture the flag exercise, hack the box type stuff. And so this is probably your best source for that. So you can go out there and browse, and you can see your title out here on the left. You can search. You can arrange it by author date. You can look for different tags. As you can see, you have your authors here. What I like here is if you go look on your tags, it will tell you, like this one, if you want to work on some of your mobile forensics. Hey, look, Android. There's some more mobile. Here's a PC operating system. File recovery and file carving. This one's for AWS and cloud remote systems. Do you want to learn about Google Drives and iCloud tools? Well, here's a data set that you can use for that. What about Linux? Okay, there's some Ubuntu and Linux right here. Steganography and file recovery. And Mac OS and Mac artifacts. Want to do some memory files? Look, there's one out here from Cyber Defenders. So like I said, there's a whole bunch of different, like here's one just straight up IoT. Android, tar, and zip. This one's just Chrome. There's a data forensics one for Bitcoin. So yeah, so there's a bunch of fun ones out there. No, not Cyber. No, I don't think there's any in here that are from CyberQ. They're from, like, these are from NIST. This is from, they're usually from labs like VTO labs and different places. This one's from a university. But these have all been vetted by NIST, and they're used in, like this one right here. If you want to learn how to do malware forensics, there's one right there from VirusShare. So they have some really, really cool stuff out here. Yeah, I don't know that CyberQ is anyone's friend at this point. No. I have to use it. You have to use it. I think that it's too late for me to change it for my next semester, people, because we have to go a semester early, but I believe we're already looking at changing it. So we're not sure what was going to happen, but believe me, your input does weigh in on that. Oh, here we go. There we go. Look at that. Xbox gaming systems, if you want to learn how to do that.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So next semester for like, since it's basically our capstone,
Yes.
what just like how will classes work with that? It's just that question popped in my head right now.
Okay, so classes are a little bit different on that because it's not so much a lecture format. Well, I guess it is a lecture, it's just slightly different. We have the breakout into your teams. Your first week will be kind of a let's make sure we have everything lined up for you guys. And this is indeed the direction that you want to go. I will go over things like, how do you do documentation? I will show you guys some previous projects to give you some ideas of things that you can do. I will talk to you about the different pieces, like you have to do a cat, knock it off. You have to do a report, but you all have to do an oral report as well. And that is, it's as a group. So what I did for my last one was I had them, basically they picked a spokesperson of the group, and then the other people chimed in and asked questions. It was more like we did it more like a debriefing, because all of the other teams were like, hey, we want to ask each other about our projects. So some people used Google Slides, some people used PowerPoint, some people did some videos. It was pretty creatively up to you, but it was a couple of short 5 to 10 minutes presentation and then question section, so we could all talk to each other about our projects, because they were all really interesting. And that was the last step before you guys had to turn in all of your documentation. So there is checkpoints that you have to do each week to prove, that you're progressing your way through your capstone. So it'll be like, here's your outline, here's your this percentage of your project is done, or this is, I just need proof that you're working on or towards your project, basically. And then I work through that with you. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
So no last week scramble is what I'm hearing.
No, you cannot do last week's scramble on this one. You will fail. Yeah, you will flunk hard. But I give you guys a lot. The nice thing about this is, since we've switched to the 8-week, the previous ones had to do it in a 5-week. So I think the 8-week is a lot nicer than having to do an entire capstone in a 5-week period. And there are checkpoints that I want you guys to be at least mostly decided and finished on before the class starts. Like, I want you guys to choose your group and have at least a basic understanding of what kind of thing you want to go for. So yeah, that's going to be before the end of this class that I will be asking that. If you do not choose your groups, you will be voluntold into groups. I do not like to do that. No. No, you cannot do that. But yeah, no, I can imagine that must have been a lot of fun, Gwen. 2 weeks for a capstone. That sounds terrible. Yeah, you guys have 8 weeks. But that's why I like to break it out into bite-sized chunks so that you have enough time. And don't do, I've had people that are like, hey, we're going to wait until to do the data collection until the week before it's due. Do not do that, because if you have a problem and a step doesn't work, you do not have time to go out and gather more data. I suggest that you do data collection at least somewhere in the middle. And that way, if you're like, okay, this is not enough data, we need to do more, you can go out and collect more data. I had a team that did not score as well as the others because they tried to do that. And then they were like, yeah, well, nothing worked. So here you go. And it was very disappointing to see. So let's just not do that. Okay. The team that did the best actually started gathering data in chunks when they started on their second or third week, and they chunked out the data gathering into different parts, and that really seemed to help. So and they split it all up so that each team member had something that they were in charge of, and it worked out really well for them. It depends on what your project is. You have to do, if you're going to be doing a pen testing type capstone, there is a report format. If you go out and look in the no, it's not where it is. Do you remember where I had the capstone information?
I think you've got it in one of the week assignments. I think it's like week. Where did I pull it from? I've got it up on mine. If you just want to use mine.
Yeah, if you look in these right here, the rubrics actually give you a basic outline of what those look like. So that can give you some information on what the actual reports have to look like. However, the graphics that you can throw in there, yeah, there's all sorts of things you can throw in. You can throw in pie charts. You can throw in, as long as you put it in your report in a properly documented way, because remember, this is a capstone, and there is a format for that, and you will get dinged on formatting. Just remember that. Yes, you can talk about your project over sushi. There you go. Whoever your team is. A lot of the teams got together weekly, and you will have weekly check-ins with me individually as teams, so I can talk to each teams. I will set up a weekly special time for each team, and we will talk as a team with you and me, just you and the team, and we will go through your individual projects, just aside from class. So don't forget that. You can Zoom call for sushi if you want to do that too. And yes, I could do that too. I could order sushi and talk to you guys while we have that, because I do not hate that. But sorry, I'm on mute eating sushi. Yeah. When we do meetings though, you do have to talk to me. But anyway, right here, I suggest you go look at that capstone information. That'll help you out a lot. A lot of people would get together, like the one team, because a lot of you're doing any sort of penetration or anything like that, penetration testing, you have to get together and pick a target, and then you actually have to go do the testing. One of them, they chose they were testing wireless, like some hardware and some stuff that they were hacking, and he volunteered his, he just happened to have some old wireless access points, and he set it up in his apartment, and they went to town on it, and it was a lot of fun. So, you know, you have things like that.
In this case, I have a question for you.
Yep.
So I actually just like toss out the idea of like, hey, red teaming Micron. But if we were to do something like that, how would we be able to prove that, hey, I'm actually in class right now, here's my final assignment, and how would we even pose the idea to them? basically with proof. So they're like, oh, it's just some random dude come try to break in or something.
You usually what we suggest is if it's someone that you have to have a contact that you know. We do not have a contact person for specifically for capstones. A lot of the times there are people that talk to someone at their workplace, or they have a friend that happens to run a business or work somewhere and they can talk to their manager or things like that. And there are, pardon me, there are forms that you have to sign. You need to talk to their legal department. It's kind of a CYA thing for everyone around, because you need to have permission from everybody you need to develop a scope for your project so they know exactly what you're going to do. And then once you have that, I did have one student that they wanted to work with a medical place, and the medical place said no. So just to be aware, depending on where you're going, if there's somewhere you want to work with them, you can always start asking now.
Speaking of Micron, though, I do happen to have a buddy, or at least I had an NCO back in 2019 that worked for Micron. I got out of the guard back then, so he might not still work for Micron, but at least I had know someone in 2019 who did.
See, and this is one of those, if you have a friend or somebody that can talk, this is one of those times where you use those contacts. If you have someone at HB or Micron or, a school district or places like that, I will tell you that there are certain industries that are less likely. Medical is one of them because of HIPAA. So there are certain places that you can go, but the university, we don't have, or the college, I guess technically we're not university, the college doesn't have a specific relationship with certain businesses for capstone projects. The students are supposed to pick someone, and you can do things like anywhere that has a public Wi-Fi access. If you know someone that has that, there you could do a McDonald's, but you would have to have permission from that manager. And I would suggest not actually hacking them, but you can always set up
Man in
a
the middle.
fake like a Wi-Fi pineapple or something, and see how many people actually will go for it. Things like that.
I'm game for man in the middling a Starbucks or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that you can do. You can say, here's how we did it. But you have to have permission from that manager of that particular place. You can what I did with those people that did that was they just gave my contact information to them so that they knew that they weren't, talking out of their rear ends. That they knew, yes, this is my instructor. Yes, I am a student in there. Yes, this is for a capstone project. And all they did was either call me or they emailed me. And then I talked to them a little bit and told them, hey, this is what they're doing. And any information that they gather will be wiped out for identifying information for your corporation. We will not even mention who you are when you present. When they turn in their paper, they will black everything out. I will be the only one that sees who you are. Anything else that's turned in, that's presented, will be blacked out. And usually that right there is enough to make them go, oh, okay. Because you're not
There's
any
no blowback
information.
on them.
Yeah, there's no blowback. In fact, one of them, we didn't even say what industry they were in. If you're worried about that, we don't even have to say that. So there's things like that, because nobody wants to be able to admit, hey, I had a bunch of college students do successful penetration testing and they just absolutely spanked our IT team. that looks great for us, but not so great for them. But the nice thing is they get professional level tools and a professional cybersecurity person that's overviewing you, and they get a nice report afterward, and they get all of the data, and they get everything, but it's free to them, and you get the credit for it. So it looks really good all the way around. Actually, physical security is part of it. So if that is part of your scope in your project and they agree to it, that is something you can do. If you have a flipper and you want to clone RFID badges and see if that works, as long as you have it in your scope and they agree to it, that is something you can do. There is a lot of room. No, you cannot threaten the employees.
So my stepdad, he used to be one of the actual original Micron security people. Like back when Micron actually had their own security teams. He was one of the original ones. And when they eventually shut them down, he got moved to being a gas systems technician. And he's been out there for past like freaking like 30 years.
Like, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to tell you the industry. I'm not going to tell you who they did this on, but the best capstone that I had in the last group was a group of 4. They picked the one guy. They used his employment place. They had to jump through a lot of hoops, had to sign a bunch of contracts. And there is one little key I'm going to tell you. Make sure that you carry around your physical copy of this is who I am. I have the right to do this. It was signed by them, because they almost got picked up by the police because they were doing a thumb drive drop test, where you just randomly drop thumb drives with fake keys to see if people would pick them up and stick them in their computers. And they were surprised how many people actually did. I mean, there was just a script on there that bounced back and said, hey, somebody put this in your computer. But people noticed that there was some weird stuff, and there was some stuff noticed on a security camera, and they could have been called in by the police if they had not had permission, and if they did not have those little slips with them, it could have been bad. So it was just a hardware drop. But also they did some really cool things. They made fake looking. They weren't even exact duplicates, because that would be unethical, but they looked kind of close to employee badges. They were non-functioning. They were just checking to see if people would pay attention and let them in, because they had those man traps, and they wanted to see if people would just, hey, that badge and that stuff kind of sort of looks like this person's official and they should be allowed in. And it was shocking how many places went, oh, fine, and either didn't look up, didn't have them sign in, or just straight up escorted them all the way back to the networking equipment. I mean, it was shocking. So it was let's just say the IT department, after having a lot of that stuff in there, were like, okay, we think we have enough data, you can stop now. So it was eye-opening for them to realize how much training they were going to need.
Meanwhile, the guy in the back just sits there, pulls out a soccer ball, sits it between his legs, and pretends it's a crystal ball. I see in our future much remedial training.
Right? Yeah. So, but the nice thing that they did is that because there was one person in the group that was kind of had insider knowledge, there were certain parts of the capstone that they blocked him out of. so that he would not give them that knowledge. So they knew that it was a black box test. So they weren't like, okay, this is, a false indicator because this person works for us. He just gave you all this information. Well, he basically wrote in the contract, I will not give XYZ out. The other 3 team members during these portions will be testing without my knowledge. And that way it really showed them, okay, this is something that was done without any knowledge whatsoever. And it scared their administration, and it gave them some really good idea for training. So it was very valuable to them. They had excellent reports that were written. The IT people loved the reports. The admins loved the reports. So, you can do a lot of good for these people. Yeah, and that was the thing when they did their thumb drive drops. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So they had some really good ideas on things. And you can ask me about, hey, I have kind of a vague idea. Do you have an idea of how maybe we can find resources for this? I can give you ideas. I can tell you some places where you can go to find cheap things to help you out. There's lots and lots of things you can do. The biggest mistake you can make is not preparing and not talking to me. Those are your 2 biggest ones. And not talking to your other team members. I cannot stress that enough. Be part of your team and help your other team members. I do grade on your participation, and I allow your other team members to send me this is how I think they did. And a small percentage of that grade is your team said you didn't do anything. And this is going to knock your grade down, but I'm going to grade them higher because they're the ones that picked up the slack and actually made this project. And that happened in one case. I'm sad to say. So please don't do that. You guys have all been a really good class. I don't see anybody in this group that's going to be doing that, but just be aware that I grade not only on the whole group, but there is an individual participation piece as well. Okay. So, okay. Do we feel like we have some good things to talk about? I really think Gwen's got some great ideas. The digital forensics would be great idea. The programming would be great. That's some excellent idea. There's some good ideas about the man in the middle. There's some really good ideas. If you guys, I can't let you guys all do it as one group. However, since we have 10 students, if you guys want to break down into 2 groups, I will let you do that. Because 5 students in each group, I could eeny, meeny, miny, moe it out for you guys. And we could do odds and evens if that would make you guys feel better. And then that way you can't. Yeah, for pen testing, you have to meet in person.
I was gonna say, like, if it's gonna be 2 groups, then obviously decide the 2 projects and then split based on that.
Right. And one thing, Gwen, for the programming thing, it would have to be something cybersecurity related that you would have to do. Anyway, so we would have to figure out, I'm not saying that you couldn't do a programming piece, but we would probably have to figure out, because I've never done a capstone with that. Usually the capstone paper writing one is a review of some sort of security tool or product. But there are different programming methods and things like that for security. So I'm sure we could come up with something. So, digital forensics is, of course, We could find, I would highly suggest, if you do digital forensics, that we look at one of those CFR EDS things on the portal and pick. I really do like you, but you're being a butt. And pick one of those out there for you guys to work through and talk about creating like an incident response team type thing for that. So that would be a suggestion and idea for that. And there's all sorts of things you can do. And don't forget, you don't have to do a blue team approach. Do you want to do a red team approach? Do you want to do a purple team approach? Remember, we're white hat hackers. We break things to fix things. So if you want to learn about all the things that you can break to fix things, that is an option too. Okay. You can pen test homes as long as you have permission of the homeowner and the people that you're checking on. Like, for example, hold on, I'm going to stop video here because I have to dig around and I don't want you guys seeing my junk pile. If you have, and if I lived closer, I'd let you guys borrow some of my hardware, but I don't. Let me stop my share here. You have one of these, you can use it. This is a flipper, and I know that there are a couple of you that have these. They are really big on the news right now. I have not had anyone choose a project with one of these or any of the modules for one of these yet. This would be an excellent idea. So think about that. You can use this on homes. You can use this on home Wi-Fi. There are sections for making a garage door opener with these. How to hit smart technology, smart locks. You could buy a smart lock and see if you can crack it. There are also all sorts of things that you can do for that. So,
I'm just imagining getting someone's permission and then
you can do it to your own home, is what I'm saying. If you don't want to do it to other people's homes, that would be, you would do kind of a combo. Let me switch over to the. You would do kind of a combo pen testing paper, because it would be a what do you call it? A kind of a review, because you would have a little bit of a review section on the technology. But if you're using it on one of your teammates' homes, like if you decide to do 2 teams and you have 5 team members, that's 5 different houses full of different technologies. Even if you have 3 team members, that's 3 different houses. Think about all the different things that you have in your house. I mean, and I'm just thinking about my house. I have tons of stuff that you can go after. And that's actually what one of my teams that was going to work with a hospital, that's what they ended up doing. They ended up using Wi-Fi Coconut, and which I think I've shown you guys before, but.
Not to cut you off, Anna, but all right, guys, you heard it. Road trip to Anna's place. We're going to see how good her defenses really are.
No, we are not. Hacking the teacher will get you an automatic 0.
I don't want to get shot by her dad, just saying.
You might get shot by me, because
it's only dangerous if we're caught, guys.
Hold on one second. I gotta find my.
That's what I was gonna say. Is we can't get in trouble if Anna doesn't find out.
Guys,
considering the fact that I have someone that works for the FBI literally across the street, not exactly the best great idea for you guys. There it is. This one.
All I'm hearing is that we've already got an insider. Everyone knows the FBI likes to monitor people.
She probably wouldn't like you. Just saying. Okay, so she had to deal with her own very own stalker before she worked for the FBI. So, and you might want to, guess who helped her with that. Anyway, so Wi-Fi Coconut, one of the teams used this and some other stuff. So this is the type of thing that you can do. They did As long as you are doing it for education and you are not destroying anything, and if it's yours, let me close this, then that's up to you. It's something that you own. And you have, yeah, it looks like a weird Roomba, doesn't it? So yeah, anyway, we're getting sidetracked on that, and you guys are going to miss the lab information for today. But yeah, that'll give you a whole bunch of stuff to think about, and we can talk some more about that. Right now, the very, very first thing I want you guys to think about is how many teams do you want? Okay, so think about that first. And you don't need to discuss that right now. In fact, I would appreciate it if you did not. You guys can talk about that in Discord and then get back to me. Okay, so today we are going to do, like I said, file viewer and hash calc. So I have these both installed on my computer. So I'm going to start with file viewer. Let me stop share here and I'll open up file viewer. Now the one that I have, as soon as you open it, don't be surprised if you get a thank you, please register. Just close it. And there are so many times that you can use it. Like I've got 2 more uses. So it's probably going to be kicking me out here soon, but I can at least use it for this. And there's a getting started with file viewer. I would check the do not show at started box and hit cancel. And that way you don't have to see that every single time. Now, let me show you what this looks like. All right, so this is what file viewer looks like. It can be a little overwhelming, but basically it's just a advanced file viewer here. Okay, so I'm going to open up. I have a bunch of source files. So I'm going to pick one that is not one of the ones that you guys are going to be using. This is grizzly bear. No, it's a bear. So this is, I'll tell you right now, this is just look, it's an image file. When you open this up, if you open it and you get a black screen or it doesn't open, then that means that there is a problem with the file. The nice thing about it is that usually it'll just give you an error message and you can still go in to the file properties section and you can still look at some of this information. This file properties, this is where you get the information for some of your answers. I ask you about the image resolution. This is how you get it, okay? So let me show you that again. File properties, all right? Now, the nice thing about these is that if it shows black, that is an indicator, like if it just shows an error message or it blacks out, that's an indicator that you have a file that has a faked file extension. So what else can you do? Well, we have our file properties. You can look at different catalogs. You can do batch files in this. You can actually edit or select areas of the picture. Now, why would you want to do that? Yeah, because sometimes you can scroll way in here and people have written tiny things on these pictures. It's not particularly common, but it does happen.
So kind of funny story about that. Whenever someone has an anniversary in my team, my boss likes to do that. She'll, like, let's say you have a 5-year anniversary, she'll put she'll hide a 5 somewhere in an image and we have to find it. It's so frustrating.
There you go. Right? So there are other things that you can do. Sometimes you'll open them and they have had weird stuff done to them, where things like your gamma and things like that are done and they look really weird. Yes, I know. You can do red eye reduction. I mean, that doesn't really do anything on this one. You can change your gamma, which makes things look weird. As you can see, it'll wash stuff out. Well, sometimes when you wash that out, you will see, I mean, it doesn't have anything here, but you will see something hidden up underneath it. You have your brightness and contrast that you can do. So you may open a file and it may look really weird and have stuff like this already changed. That's a definite indicator that someone has been messing with the file, and you may need to open it in another program in order to see, okay, what have they done to this? You can do, like it has here, you have your luminosity, your contrast, your hue. There's all sorts of things that you can do on that. Pardon me. You can do things like this. Okay, how many total number of unique colors are there in this picture? I mean, in this case, there's not really a need to, but it's kind of cool that you can do that. Because you can get just a ton of random information out of these files. And for each file type, there is different things that you can look at. You can look at video files with this. You can look at sound files, documents. There are all sorts of things that you can look at with this. So these are fairly large, as you can see, because it opens it way out, fairly large files. So if you want to, you can resize these. But when you hit resize, it also tells you exactly how big this is. And that's a fairly large file if it's got a picture height out at 1932 and 2580. You can flip it, not that you would need to. Is there anything anyone else wants to know about these image files? Oh, no, you absolutely can't buy one on Amazon. You can try to buy a flipper on eBay, but I would go look on their actual website. They had a bunch of flipper and flipper modules that were available. Are they out of stock? I can send you a link for how to buy them if you don't know. Okay, good. Okay. I am actually part of the yeah, I was gonna say I'm actually part of their Discord server, and whenever they have, that's how I found out about the they have an add-on for gaming sections, and I suggest if you decide to buy one, there's a production kit that's not particularly that much more for some extra boards. I bought everything for it because a lot of countries are scared by this, even though the hardware for these has been out there for a very long time. So as soon as I had it and I was able to buy it, I bought everything available because I didn't know how long it was going to stay available. And it's a fun little tool. And yeah, mine was 150, I think, when they first came out, but they have changed the hardware a little bit. But it's worth it. And there are also places where you can get 3D printed mods to hold some of the cards and things. So yeah, mine was more because I bought the silicone cover for it and some other stuff. But anyway, I'm off track again. And I'll show you some stuff with my flipper after we do this here. So is there any more questions about file viewer? File viewer, yes, no, going once. Going twice. Ha 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 ha. All right. All right, I am going to stop sharing on this one then. And then we are going to go to HashCalc. So HashCalc is in that forensic tools. And let me open that. It's not a huge app. It pops up pretty quickly. It should look familiar. It looks a lot like one that we did previously. Okay. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. So there are different formats that you can do. You can do a file, which is what I'm going to show you. You can do a text string, which you dump your stuff in here, or you can do a hex string. So with a file, you hit your three dots out here, and then you open up one of these. Now I'm going to use bamboo clumping, and we're going to open that. It doesn't do anything but show you the file right away. If you decide you want to do an HMAC, you do this, and then you have to give it a key. We're not going to do that for this. I will tell you, if you have all of these checked, in fact, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do that. It'll take a second. I'm not going to check that one because I don't know how long it's going to take. It will take a second because like the SHA 512 and the Panama, those are a little bit longer. So we'll hit calculate. So as you can see, it doesn't take a ton of time. There are some files where it takes a little bit longer. So when I'm asking about what is the MD5 hash for, all I want you to do is copy the MD5 hash for that particular 5. What is the MD4 hash? And I tried to pick the ones that were not super long. So there's the MD4 hash section, SHA-1. Here's the SHA-1 section. Now, ripe MD 160, that one's right in here. But as you can see, things like Panama, that's a bit longer. Tiger, it's a little bit longer. So those are just higher ones there. And if you want to do those, yeah, you can decrypt stuff for hash, for dark web leaks on things like that. One thing that you can do also, if you are not sure about a file, if you're like, I think this file or this installer, especially an installer, might be infected, I'm going to show you how to find out how to do that. Now this one, because it's just a file, is not going to bring anything up, probably. Let's MD5 or SHA-1 are probably the two easiest hashes to do that with. And you check those by going out to virus total. Let me share that. So have any of you used virus total before? Labs. Okay. So it's not a file, but if you go to search, you can see here, search for a hash. Well, you can just dump your hash right there, and it's not going to do anything because, you know, but if you have a program you're not sure of, you can use that hash calc right there. And you can open the exe file, the downloader exe file, calculate the hash, copy that out, and then dump it in there and check it. They had a really interesting lab where you did that to check. This was for the certified hacking forensic investigator. And you checked and it was like, hey, just so you know, 75% of the searches for this say this piece of information is infected. So that is one thing that you can use hashcalc for. You can use it for verifying source, checking to see, you know, okay, the original hash value was this. So when you go out and look for it, the virus totals like, this is the hash value I'm expecting to find. This is not the hash value that's actually showing up. So a lot of the places that it goes out and puts them against will go, you know, because it's not just one place, it's like a bunch of them that it searches against. It'll give you a percentage of how many places say, there is a good chance that this is an infected installer, infected file, or whatever, whatever it is that you're checking. Okay. So let's look at that lab. Do you think, looking at this, I'm not going to tell you on that first one. I'm pretty sure you'll know when you open the images in file viewer, one of them looks weird. You'll know which one it is right away. Because when I first opened it up, I was like, what is wrong with that? So do you think those things in red, do you think you can find them after what I've discussed? Is there anyone that has a question on finding the answers to those? Right. Okay, so far everyone thinks they can find it. Anybody that thinks they're going to have a problem? No? Not foreseeing any problems? I'll ask Steve. Oh, German's roasting you today, Steve. You're going to have to go before him. Okay, so that is it for the Forensic Friday lab portion. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the homework, and if you wanted to talk about the flipper or some of the other resources on how to find stuff, stick around too. Okay, we'll talk about that after that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop the recording.